Hey everyone, and thank you for joining me for this video. I really appreciate it. Hope you guys are having a good day. If this is your first video on the channel, hope you can stick around for the whole video, see if you like it, and then subscribe down below. I'd really appreciate that. This is going to be the first video that I do in this series called basically the top 5 things I like about each team. I'm going to start with Boston first. If you are aware of the teams that I cheer for and you are familiar with my channel, you know that I am a Montreal Canadiens fan. I have a jersey for every single hockey team. That's why I'm wearing Boston for this one. Obviously, this is a Boston-themed video. And I thought that I would do the teams that I generally like the least first from the Atlantic, and I'm going to kind of go by division. So Boston is that team for me. I like them the least from the Atlantic, being a Montreal Canadiens fan. But that doesn't mean that I don't like certain things about all teams, even the ones that I kind of dislike generally. So I think if we take a step back and we kind of let our ego go a little bit, I think we can say that there are things about these teams that maybe we don't cheer for, that we do kind of like certain things about those teams. So I think if we kind of let go of our ego a little bit, we can admit to liking certain things. So that's kind of one of my idea for this series. I'm going to do all 31 teams and then maybe eventually 32 teams as Seattle joins the league coming up. So if you are interested in this series, I hope you can subscribe to see all the rest of the 30 videos after this one. I'd really like it if you could join me. So let's begin. Number 1, the players. Honestly, this was an easy one for me. Boston of the old days had these players that I just couldn't relate to. Milan Lucic, who I just despised as a Boston Bruins player. A couple of other players on the team, I just couldn't bring myself to really cheer for some of the players on the team. But now it's not the same team as it used to be. They're still a heavy-hitting, physical team, but they're a little bit more skilled, a little bit more finesse, definitely more fast, and I really appreciate that, and some of the new players on the team bring that to the team. I'm talking about players like DeBrusk, McAvoy. I like Halak back from the Montreal days. I do like Rask. It's hard to not like Bergeron. How do you dislike Patrice Bergeron? One of the best two-way forwards in the game, probably the best defensive forward in hockey today. Tremendous person off the ice as well. So that was an easy one for me. I really like the players on Boston. Not all of them, but some of them. Number 2, some of the jerseys. Yes, that's right. Some of the jerseys, not all of the jerseys. I will admit that I'm not a big fan of Boston's colors. However, there are certain jerseys that they have used in history that I'm a huge fan of. This is one of them. This is one of my favorite jerseys in my entire collection. I think I have over 90 jerseys now in my collection. This is probably top 3 or 4. I absolutely love this jersey. It's the one that they wore in the Winter Classic against Chicago. Oh, I'm mirrored on my screen here. I get the patch on the side. I really like this jersey. Now, as I'm filming this, they just released a new jersey here in the past couple of weeks, and I've already worn it in a couple of games. It looks pretty good. I haven't technically reviewed it on my channel yet. That video is coming up too if you'd like to subscribe and see that. But I really like some of the jerseys that Boston chooses, and I kind of wish that they would bring back some more that were pretty good from the past. Number 3, rivalries. It's kind of a weird thing to like a team because of another team, but that's what this is for me. Boston has just an entire list of amazing rivalries that you can appreciate as a hockey fan, not just a Boston fan, not just the other team's fan, just as a general hockey fan. If you look at Boston, they have rivalries against Toronto, Montreal, a little rivalry against, St. Louis now, I guess, since the last playoffs. There's certain teams that you can really appreciate the rivalry for. And I'm not going to give any teasers. There's a couple of other teams around the league that I use this as one that I like about the team, rivalries. But when you're watching hockey, and it's 2 teams against each other that you don't generally cheer for, so you're just watching it as a hockey fan because you love the sport, or maybe you want to see how the outcome or how it happens or whatever. If there's a rivalry between these 2 teams and you can see the fans just going crazy in the arena and the players on the ice, you have to appreciate that. And you get a lot of that from Boston, and I appreciate that. Number 4, location. Yeah, this one seems like kind of a weird one, right? But for me, I live in Atlantic Canada. I live in Fredericton, New Brunswick currently. So Boston is only roughly a 7-hour drive away from me. That means It's the closest NHL team. The next closest, I believe, is Montreal, which is around 8 or 9 possibly. So Boston is the closest to me, which means if I want to see an NHL game, the easiest way to do that is to go to Boston. So I like the location. Number 5, fans. Now, being a Montreal Canadiens fan, I have had an endless amount of interaction with Boston fans, from a small kid to a teen to an adult. I've met so many Boston fans over the years, and there have only been a couple that I disagreed with to the point where I didn't really want to be around them. I used to work with one a couple of years ago, and he was the most biased fan I've ever met in my entire life. He drove me crazy, but I know that he is not a typical fan of the Boston Bruins, because I know so many great fans of the Boston Bruins, and they are my close friends. Jason, who you see on this channel regularly now, is a huge Boston Bruins fan. Joey, who you would have seen in the summer, who came up to visit me, huge Boston Bruins fan. I just recently went down to see Joey. And there are others who love Boston, and we can be friends. As a Canadiens fan, I can be friends with these Boston fans. There's rivalry for sure. There's teasing back and forth, absolutely. But I really appreciate that most of the Boston fans that I've interacted with have been completely pleasant people and actually wonderful people. Now, obviously, this might be true to you. Maybe you've had bad interactions with Boston fans. This is just a personal thing for me. But that rounds off my list. So guys, thank you very much for watching this video. I know it wasn't very long, and it wasn't intended to be very long. I want these videos to kind of be short, quick 5 to 10 minute videos, just to give you a little bit of insight into things that I like about each team. So if you could go down below and hit the subscribe button if you did enjoy this video, I'd really appreciate that. And we'll see you in the next video. Adios.